going to meet Bill Berloni and Rob Cox, the guys behind the animals of the Broadway production of Legally Blonde.
Hi, I'm Bill Berloni. I'm the owner and trainer of the dogs that are here in Legally Blonde. In Legally Blonde, there are two dog characters. The main dog character is a Chihuahua named Bruiser, and this is Chico. He plays Bruiser. And his understudy's Teddy, right here, and Boo Boo. There's another character from the movie that is a hairdresser who is assisted in getting her dog back, and the dog's name is Rufus. And this is Chloe, who plays Rufus, and this is Zizi, her understudy.
Tell us about a typical day for these dogs on set.
At around 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they go in the car, they come to this theater where they're greeted by a cast who hugs and kisses them, you know, and crew guys. I mean, the bulldogs love the crew guys. I mean, they're so stereotypical. The Chihuahuas love to be hugged by the girls. I mean, so they get all this love and affection. And every now and then perform a behavior for a treat, and then, you know, come back to the dressing room and hang out. So they're doing it for the positive reinforcement of just coming here and having a good time. They have no idea. That audience that's over there, they're just making a lot of noise.
Bill, how did you get your start in training animals?
When I was 19 years old, I was asked to train the original Sandy for the original production of Annie. Basically because the production couldn't afford a professional dog trainer and nobody else would agree to do it. So in an effort to save money, I went to an animal shelter and rescued the first Sandy. The reason I agreed to train the dog was that the producer agreed to give me my equity card and a part in one of the shows because I wanted to be an actor. So I got the dog, I trained him for Annie, and I got my equity card, and I actually moved to New York City and enrolled in NYU's acting school. And 6 months later, Mike Nichols called and said, "We're doing the show with the original company, would you be interested?" So I thought, for my acting career, any way to work with Mike Nichols, I would do it. So I pretended to be an animal trainer. Annie opened, and after my third Broadway show working with animals, I realized that this was my calling, and I was much more talented at this than at performing.
What do you advise for somebody that has a dog at home? What if they want to get their dog into showbiz? What's your advice to all those dogs out there that are desperate to be the next Legally Blonde 2 dog?
A lot of people will call me up and say, "I've got a great dog, and it's beautiful, and I want to get into show business. Doesn't know how to sit? No. Doesn't know how to stay? No." So, you know, the first thing that we recommend is that you obedience train your dog. Once you've done that, there are a number of animal agents like myself in New York that you could call. You can call up, you have an audition, and you go with the people you feel comfortable with. You know, people who feel will treat you and your animal well. But it does start with training, and I push training because whether or not your dog is a star or not, every dog should be well behaved. I was just called in on a film called Charlie Wilson's War, directed by Mike Nichols, starring Julia Roberts and Tom Hanks. So we trained 2 greyhounds that belonged to Julia's character, who had to follow her around her mansion wherever she went. And then 2 cats, which belonged to Tom Hanks, that hung out in his office all the time, just sort of laid there. You know, here I was swept up into Hollywood, working with Julia Roberts has 7 shelter dogs, 7 dogs that she's rescued, and she loved the dogs. She couldn't have been nicer. I mean, she would come out to our trailer and say hello. You know, and Tom was great. He was the executive producer, and he was like, "Tell me what you want to do." And so, I mean, you know, those sort of experiences, which are once in a lifetime, I think are earned more than deserved. So, I mean, it was just great. It was a wonderful experience. Just the feeling that this little dog is going to, you know, show up on a red carpet out of a limo one night when, you know, back in April of '06, he was in a steel cage in Newark, New Jersey. I mean, that's where I find my private moments. It's not about the hoopla or whatever, but just the private moments of knowing that, you know, this guy will never want, you know, again.